Hello everybody and welcome to my first review on this channel. Today I'm covering Archer Olive's fairly new acrylograph pens in the Warm Fall collection, and it comes in this beautiful packaging that contains 8 different colors, 1 blender and a white pen as well. The box also includes 2 spare nibs in case your pens gets clogged, or if the nibs that are currently in the pens gets frayed. You will actually see me changing the nib of the white pen later on in the video, since it didn't work right. I ordered my pens from a Swedish shop called Tidformera, so the dual collection which I wanted at first wasn't available, but I'm very satisfied with the colors of the Warm Fall collection. Archer Olive has currently 5 different color collections, which I would love to try out in the future. They also has 2 different sizes of the nibs. The ones I'm reviewing today is a 3mm tip, but they also have a 0.7mm tip as well for more detailed work. As I mentioned, I bought mine from Tidformera, since the shipping would take too long for me and was quite expensive to Sweden. The pens were a little bit more expensive at Tidformera, but since there were no shipping I found it more convenient for me. And for my Swedish followers, I would really recommend you to go and take a look at their website, since they have a lot of other products from Archer Olive and almost anything you can think of when it comes to bullet journaling. They're also super sweet and include a little gift when you buy something from them. Now on to the function of the actual pens. You have to give the pens a good shake and press the nib onto the blending palette that's included in the packaging. This step can take a good while, and it can vary from pen to pen how fast ink flows to the nib. But it's super satisfying to finally see the ink seeping onto the palette. The acrylograph pens is water-based and can go over white, black and craft paper, which I find very exciting since I like to include craft papers in my setups. So I thought that I would do a little pen swatch these next few minutes, so that you get an idea of how the pen works. So I will leave you with some music here to enjoy this little segment. Here I noticed that the white pen did not want to cooperate with me. I shook it and tried to reactivate it, but nothing worked. So I had to change the nib, which made things go a little bit easier, but I was still not fully satisfied with the white. Overall, I think the colors of the Warm Fall collection is super pretty, but it wasn't as opaque as I hoped, and sometimes it looked like a bit streaky, but maybe it's just because I haven't fully learned how to work these pens out yet. Next up, I tried out the 2 different blending techniques suggested in the packaging. So what you do for the first one is to get 2 colors onto the blending palette, and then pick them up with the blending pen. You will need plenty of ink for this. I think I used too little when I tried this out, since there were not a lot of colors that came off the pen. But I've heard others that couldn't work this blending technique out as well, so I don't really know why it's not working. The next technique is a little bit easier. What you do is that you put a darker color onto the palette and then pick that dark up with a lighter color pen. This way you can create really beautiful fading effects. And since the acrylograph pens are water-based, you can easily wipe the ink off the blending palette. My favorite thing about these pens are definitely that you can put another layer on top of the ink. This makes it so much easier to do more detailed art with pens, instead of using other painting supplies like gouache or gel pens, for example. I used the dark green as a base and then used a lighter green on top. This is a good example of how opaque the pens are on top of one another. And of course you have to wait a few seconds for the first layer to dry before you go in with the second layer. But other than that, I was super pumped to see how great the pens worked for this purpose. So to sum things up, I really enjoyed the pens overall. The colors were beautiful in the warm fall collection, and the 3mm tip worked very well for covering larger areas. I would probably get the smaller size nib if I would do more detailed art, but for me the larger size works perfectly fine. The only thing that I have to complain about is that the white was a little bit hard to work with, and that for the blending pen to actually work, you need a lot of ink, which is kind of tricky to get on there. I will say goodbye for now, but hopefully I can see you in my next video.